Hey, welcome. This is Russ, your guy in Guam. Welcome to week 4 in this ongoing vlog series. Began 4 weeks ago with me documenting my ongoing weight loss effort. And it's actually, let's see, so this is May the 21st, 2021. I'm documenting a weight loss effort that began officially on April the 20th. So we are we are one day now past the 1 month mark. So we are, where am I? And I teased a couple of things last week, but so it's where are we at a month and where are we relative to last week? And some of the things that I teased in the week 3 video. I'm going to tell you this, it's not going to go exactly to plan as to what I talked about. So last week I teased that my wife and I were engaged in doing this weight loss thing together, that we shelled out a little bit of cash on a program, and that part of this weight loss effort involves using a program, and that I talked about. I may start describing what that is and talk a little bit about it moving forward. And that probably will still happen, but I'm going to tell you right off the top here that that's at least getting pushed back by a week because a few things have happened over this last week that have kind of shaped what it is that I wanted to talk about in the course of this week's video. And of course, if you like what I'm doing, please give it the thumbs up and subscribe and leave all your comments below and tell me what of a schmuck I am. So yeah, I'm pushing that off because I think that's a topic that's going to take up some time, and Captain Ramble Lips here. These videos go on long enough, and I'm trying to keep them sort of succinct and again as interesting and as I could possibly be. I've talked about that. I'm using a pretty basic camera setup here. I'm doing this vlogs effort, sort of down and dirty and raw. I'm not engaged in. I'm not doing editing, and you're not seeing a lot of fancy floating graphics, and I'm not working from a script because I wanted to speak straight from the heart each week. I think moving forward that's going to continue, but this whole thing, you are witnessing the birth of a vlog and the birth of a communicator finding their footing, and the whole thing is going to evolve. I'm sure over the course of time, but right now that's kind of where my head is at with all of it, and I like to keep it kind of pure that way. And as you can tell, that I'm not doing a lot as far as high-end production value. I am your guy in Guam, and I've talked about that I'm doing part of my weight loss effort is and the whole thing again, to just really quickly recap it. It's primarily a diet. And a bit of movement, and the movement is I'm just doing daily walks, and I'm doing walks at this point, day in, day out. They're right at about an hour in the morning, and then obviously however many organic steps that I get in the course of my day, depending on what it is that we're doing. But I get a good amount of steps in, and that's all I'm doing at this stage of things. Maybe as I go down the line, I might start working in a workout routine. But first of all, weight loss is again 80-90% diet, sort of no matter what you do anyway. So it's I feel like I'm conquering that part of it. I want to shed a lot more weight before I get too concerned about really trying to sculpt this thing right now. So again, a couple of things that happened. We had a little bit, and this is really what sort of derailed the idea of talking about the program per se, because I don't know. There's going to be a little period of time beginning this week and until we really, it has to do a little bit with Guam. Oh, what I was leading up to and talking about Guam, by the way, is you see I got this here. So I'm doing that walking every day. My lips got a little bit dried out, so I got a little bit of apologies. It's kind of a little bit gross. But, I guess it doesn't look too bad on camera. Yeah, my lip kind of dried out and got cracked. Hey, again, I'm a real life guy, living a real life. And so anyway, so living here in Guam, again, it's an island in the middle of the Pacific. I'm assuming that the majority of anyone finding these videos are very likely to be people living in the continental United States, and wherever you are living abroad, it doesn't really kind of matter. As small as this island is, I think if you're not watching me from Guam, you probably know very little about Guam. It is a U.S. territory. It's a small island in the middle of the Pacific. It's tropical, again, so, I guess all the sun that I'm getting, had the problem with the chapped lips, so I'm going to have to try to do something to, sort of get a handle on that moving forward. We'll do something to protect my lips and keep them nice and moist. And, so the thing with Guam is we're a little bit at the mercy of the shipping lanes, and sometimes things are bountiful here, and sometimes the most basic of things are scarce, and that's just, again, that's depending on, weather and what ships have come in and that sort of thing. And we had a minor tragedy for a weight loss effort, and that is we began this. I had a scale that I brought into the relationship, into the marriage, that's over a decade old. It dates back to my last weight loss go around, many years ago, a decade ago. So I thought it seemed like a good enough scale. You put back, it needed fresh batteries, but I think with the batteries in it, I thought it operated okay. My wife wasn't happy with it, which is fine. Okay, great. So we went to the store here, and we found a really nice high-end scale. Paid a little extra for it. It's one of these things where it calculates your body mass index, and it's keeping track of different users and all of this sort of stuff. Had some features, but the key, the thing that made it an awesome scale, is that it was rock solid. It was rock solid. I'd step on that thing and I'd get we just boop, there's a reading. And I sort of am always a little skeptical of scales. I always weigh myself twice, and this scale would be pretty rock solid. It would boop, and then get back on it, boop, same exact reading down to the ounce. And I felt good about now, can I attest to its precision? It's not the important thing. I think it's as long as it's consistent to itself. And that's the thing, that's kind of the message. That's your takeaway for those of you, again, in a very strong part. Why am I doing this in the first place? I'm putting myself out there, to track my progress in real time. I'm about a message of self-improvement, and for those of you that are out there that are contemplating, thinking to yourself, I need to make some changes in my life. I may be, facing health issues due to my weight, and I'm looking to do that, and I'm looking for inspiration. This is me doing this again live and in week to week. You're going to track this progress all the way through my ultimate success or ultimate failure. But this is. And I think, that's, again, the other part of the message is that, I think as this vlog goes on, it probably will evolve to things beyond just simply the weight loss effort. It's starting off in the weight loss arena, but it's, understand that, and as I've talked about each week, it's part and parcel of an overall investment in a person. I call this series The New Man, and I'm not simply a new man because I'm shedding weight. I am looking to get a handle on certain health-related issues related to my weight, but that's not where it stops and starts. I'm doing a whole mind, body, and spirit kind of thing, and I continue to invite you into my little world and my little journey, and I look to connect with as many people as I can about positivity and making great life changes. We had that. The other thing that happened is my wife and I over the last week, we have a wonderful relationship, and I'm incredibly fortunate. I feel blessed to have her. Again, as I've mentioned, this is a second marriage. This is not a first marriage for either of us, and we're a little bit older to be. I told you before, this is our son together, who's only 3 years old. Obviously, that's him as a complete infant, days old, but he's only 3 today as we sit here in 2021. He'll be 4 later this year. And, I'm trying to do my best to be healthy for him. And then, of course, I don't mean to discount these two young people who are now in their 20s, and those are my wife's kids from her first marriage. So we had this wonderful conversation, as we often do. We are very conscious of communicating and in nurturing our relationship in a very aware and honest way. And we had a wonderful conversation about essentially, without airing our personal business, but it really had a lot to do with being better, even better partners than. Well, being even better partners. We're in a great relationship, but being even more supportive of one another and really embracing our respective and combined dreams as a family, or what our goals are. And to that end, there's a little bit of a shift, and so I'm moving a bit, shifting very slightly, maybe even imperceptibly, in the public forum. To really finding and establishing who I am as a writer, as a communicator, and putting my focus really where I want it to be. And that goes a little bit hand in hand. So tune in next week. Tune in next week about the, again, presuming that we don't have any other big things that happen. I didn't finish the scale story. Man, I'm Captain Ramble Lips. Captain Ramble Lips. The scale story. So that scale that was awesome. It was a glass scale, and it got set down, and apparently caught the corner. This is the story I'm told. I don't have any reason to doubt it. She came out of the bathroom holding a shattered scale, and it was a heartbreaker because it was a great scale. So when I get around here in a second to talking about this week's weight loss progress, it's coming with a small grain of salt. So quickly to just sort of put a button on what I'm talking about with me as a communicator. Again, I think that this vlog, as it goes on, is going to continue to be an ongoing life vlog, videos that we'll continue to check in. Now, right now, the program is I'm checking in every Friday. Again, it is Friday the 21st here in Guam. Not so back in the continental U.S. and probably wherever you are in the world, we're probably many hours ahead. We're always ahead. We are just barely on the side of the international date line. So again, the Guam motto is "It's where America's day begins," and literally, as a U.S. territory, Guam is we are at the forefront of every day. So it's Friday the 21st here, but as I'm recording this, it is actually Thursday the 20th. And sort of midday to early evening. It's not even we're significantly ahead. Depending on where obviously there's 4 time zones in the continental U.S. I think it's somewhere in that range of we're 13 to 17 hours ahead. And also Guam doesn't observe daylight savings time, so that shifts back and forth depending on the time of the year. But even to London, I think we're 10, 11 hours ahead here. And life in Guam, I start my videos saying, hey, this is Russ, your guy in Guam, and that will continue to be the case as long as we're here in Guam. But part of that conversation that my wife and I had about being better partners to one another, or to really go, it's not that we were being bad partners, but that we really were we made a decision to let's really embrace the adventure that sort of began with making the decision to pursue an opportunity that brought us here to Guam in the first place. You know, I think when we arrived to Guam, the sort of loose idea was that, you know, she was going to be here on 2-year contracts, but likely we would be here a minimum of 4 years and probably most likely as long as 10 years. And we were looking forward to having this sort of idyllic tropical life for this period of time, and then return back to the continental U.S. to sort of retire near family and find our forever home and that sort of thing. And now I think we're sort of, you know, we understand that the opportunities that there are in the school system that my wife works for, and you know, I'm your guy in Guam for as long as I'm here in Guam, and she's looking at some new opportunities, and you know, she has definitely the possibility for some rapid advancement. So follow our adventures. We might end up bouncing all over this great, wonderful blue globe as life and time goes by. And so, all right, as we are cresting past the 16-minute mark, let's get down to the business of things. So last week, I also had teased and talked about that I was at 149, I believe it was 149.2. 149. I would love it that I was 149. 249. Let's be serious. I was last week 249 pounds. I began April the 20th, 1 month ago, just over a month ago, at 265.1. And last week at 249.2. But as I made clear last week, and what hopefully would be what one of the the big mystery for this week, or your cliffhanger, is that I was experiencing a 4-day at that point kind of plateau. I mean, I was dancing all around to that 249 figure, and the 249 actually that morning represented a minor uptick from the day before. Well, that was on the old scale. And so the question was, what were we going to, was I going to be able to break out of that? And the other thing that I teased was, because I was in the plateau, and because I knew this to be a good strategy for sort of dealing with your body, again, with major weight loss, it's expected that eventually your body gets used to working with lower calories. Oh, doesn't that make life grand? It really does. So that weight loss that comes off so easily, like in that first 10 days of the effort, before I made video in week number 1, I lost not quite 9 pounds in 10 days, and then then it's slowed and slowed and slowed, and again, that's my body getting into into becoming more efficient. Yay! And therefore it becomes more difficult to lose weight. But that's that's the way it goes, and you have to understand those sort of things going in, and just be happy about how much you get to lose in the early going, and then realize it's a long haul process, and it's going to taper. But you have at your disposal a handful of things. First of all, again, mindset. Can't emphasize that enough. Sticking to the plan, don't get discouraged. But one of the strategies that you can do is actually to sort of ditch your diet for a day, or at least for a meal. Really have the kind of pre-diet, undiet, and go for it. Go big. So what was it? So I talked about. So we were planning on doing something last Saturday. And we didn't know. I didn't know at the time what was going to be the big breakout meal for our cheat day on the diet, and would I be able to break out of the plateau? So Saturday, I had suggested to her, on Island, there's a couple of really great burger places. There's one, though, that we found that we really, really enjoy. They make great burgers. Go have a nice cheesy burger. Was my thought. That's what I threw out there. She countered. She upped the ante. She really hit me with the uppercut, and we went for the gold because she was like, no, there's this seafood crab place that we haven't tried, and here on island. And I'll give a shout out. I'll give a shout out, Crab Daddies. If you're on Guam, we went to Crab Daddies. It was our very first time. Crab, and I can tell you, we belong there. I belong to some foodies groups, right? It's sort of like when we came onto island, we sort of wanted to, have really good suggestions from the local natives, the people that would be in the know, and so. We got to get to know the culinary scene here, and there are mixed reviews about Crab Daddies. I can only tell you, we had an amazing time. We had a great meal. Got a Dungeness crab, and it sort of came with a bunch of other seafood, and then of course, and this is talking about a nice big seafood boil, so if you're familiar with that, again, this was not something she had to sell hard. This was she was like, let's go to Crab Daddy's. I was like, so! Because I love crab. I love crab legs, and this was a whole Dungeness crab. We split the crab. It came with all of this shrimp and crawfish and some mussels, and then it came with the corn and the potatoes, all bathed in this glorious garlic butter sauce. And, I realize this is sort of like I'm going into food porn here, but that's what we went for. They also had this amazing seafood nachos appetizer. We took the shackles off for the day, and for the day we went out and we had a really, really nice meal. And actually, I'll tell you what, one that ends up sort of being economical, because although crab boils are not inexpensive, and they're certainly no less inexpensive here on island, we were able to take all of the leftover shells of the various shellfish. So first of all, I want to make it clear, we didn't eat all that stuff. We pretty much finished off the crab, but there was plenty of the other seafood was left over. And my wife, being the great cook that she is, and resourceful in finding recipes, we took all those crab shells, all the other seafood shells, we took them home, and she was able to make a seafood stock and repurpose that leftover seafood into a really nice and pretty low calorie overall. Like it was like a seafood stew sort of thing that she made. And it was absolutely amazingly delicious. And actually, we didn't even finish all of that. So we're going to get more than 2 meals. We're going to end up getting more than 3 meals, I think, out of our Crab Daddy's adventure. It was amazing. It was delicious. It was totally worth it. The next day, back, no problem, right back into the program. You really, again, if you've got major weight to lose and you're in your ongoing journey, especially when you hit those plateaus, it's great, because not only does it help you kick out of the plateau, and I'm assuming that if you probably are somebody like myself who enjoys yummy foods. I love to eat, so it's incredibly enjoyable and really guilt-free. Because I can tell you, when you do put on a lot of weight, even if you don't go into a weight loss effort, at points, you do. So I think most of us do. I think anyone who carries a lot of weight, at some point you start to feel, you do feel like, oh, I'm eating a piece of cake again. And every piece of cake you eat, or every cheeseburger that you eat, at some point, that stuff plays in your mind, especially if you're somebody that's, also got health issues. You're like, I'm not doing what I should be doing for myself. I'm not eating the right way. But at the same time, you do enjoy these things. Now, I have said, and I absolutely mean it with all sincerity, that we have done an amazing job. My wife has done an amazing job in making the eating right, loaded with vegetables, really lean proteins, keeping it bulky and keeping it really, really flavorful, lots of different textures, lots of different colors, great presentation. So we are not living a deprived life. But, breaking out to eat something that is just fundamentally delicious. It doesn't have to work hard to do so. Now, crab meat is not high in calories, but again, all soaked in the garlic butter and with the potatoes and the sausage and all the stuff that comes with it, and then seafood nachos and everything. Becomes a pretty, it wasn't some incredible orgy of consumption, but it was a very, very enjoyable, delicious meal. And so then did it work? Absolutely, yes it did. So that several days that I was at that 249, over the next couple of days, my weight actually dropped pretty significantly, and it's continued to been pretty much okay. Now, we get back to the scale misadventure, and we ended up going to the store, and as I mentioned before about being on Guam, we would have probably invested in the very same scale, maybe looked for one that wasn't glass, but those higher end scales just weren't there. And so we got the one scale that was available, which unfortunately is the least expensive scale that they offer. And not that I needed all the bells and whistles, but this scale, I'm finding that this is one where it's super, super sensitive to how you stand on it. And literally, it's the weight that it shows, it's digital, but it looks like, like a roulette, or something. It's the numbers, and I stand on it the wrong way, and I'm talking about variances of like 3-4 pounds swinging back and forth. I have very little faith, so it's one of those, I'm on it and off it and trying to keep my feet dead center and making it's sensitive to any micro shifts in weight. So I kind of have to do the best with this scale to let it settle where it settles and try to get the same reading more than once, and judge it from there. But I know that until the other scale broke, my weight was down, and in fact, we went from that 249 range yesterday. Actually, I'm ticked up again here on video day. I'm ticked up a bit from yesterday. Yesterday I was just under 20 full pounds from the beginning. Right, I was from the 265 where I began, April the 20th. And then yesterday, May the 20th, I was right at 245 even, according to this scale, which I don't trust. But that would be, under a tick under 20 pounds yesterday. But this morning, its best reading was 245.8 actually. So, again, that's 0.8 of a pound up from yesterday. Maybe there was some sodium intake yesterday that again, the fluctuations don't kill me. The scale not being very solid and consistent with itself. And let me say, 245, but I got on at one point. It was up at 250. It bounced down. It's up. It's the best scale that I've got available to me right now. So hopefully by next week, or at least in the coming weeks, we will find a more reliable scale that I feel more confident in reporting a true. But we know that the trend is pointing in the right direction. So I don't know that I lost a real, 3 to 4 pounds, but 3 to 4 pounds is about what it seems like I lost this week, right in that neighborhood somewhere. And again, so we'll see. Moving forward, I'll talk more about, I'll get into hopefully what that program is that we're doing. This is already the longest video that I've done, I think, again, this is why I didn't want to take on more topics that I already knew that I wanted to cover. And whether or not you need to lose weight, hey, keep checking in with me because, again, I'm going to continue to evolve this thing. I'm not, This is an effort that I'm making to try to document this as, in progress, because there are areas of life, again, beyond just weight loss, but weight loss primarily is the thrust here at the beginning. But I'm looking to, make a lot of changes, and I'm looking to share that with a lot of people, and hopefully, get that dialogue going, be a little bit of an inspiration for you, and continue to be somebody who's, again, spreading some positivity and some thoughts and some words that I'm learning ongoing about making personal progress, making personal changes. So I thank you very much for joining me this week. And until I see you again next week, you have an amazing week.